Welcome to the Manitowoc Garage. In today's video, we'll be doing an overview of the Hirschman Q-scale display used on a 900A National crane. Remember to always refer to the operator and safety manuals for the crane for detailed explanations of the operating system, display features, component locations, and descriptions. Functional elements of the display. Keys down the left side and right side are the function keys. All have different functions depending on which screen you're in. There is an ambient light sensor here. There's an operating display light here. USB data display, yellow during data exchange via the front USB port here for software uploading. Other indicators are not used. The encoder does several things. If you see here, select an operating mode. We use the encoder to select our operating mode for the machine. The select key here would select inputs. So in this case, operating mode 1, I want to select that. It now shows operating mode 1 and asks me to confirm that. Alright, this key would return us to the home screen from several other working screens typically, and the escape key would return us to the previous menu. In this case it does not, because this would be to return to my operating mode menu. Setting the machine up for operation. Once again, I'm going to select operating mode 1 here. It's asking me to confirm that. So here I have several other options that I can look at. I can look at system. Alright, and in system there are several other settings, so I can calibrate, calibration overview, I can calibrate sensors. I can set my volume and display contrast. I can enter a maintenance screen, which has no function. Asks me for a password. And I can change it from metric to domestic. Language is the little globe, so set date and time, and we can change an administrative password, but you have to know the actual password first. We're not going to get into that in this video. Info. So in the info screen I can look at inputs and outputs. I can look at digital inputs, digital outputs, analog inputs. So we'll look at digital inputs first. So there's an override input, area definition input, outrigger monitoring system 770, so OMS is outrigger monitoring system. Alright, and with any digital input here I can hit the I button and call up more information about that input. Same with digital outs or analog inputs. Cable reel, length, angle, piston transducer, rod transducer. So this is what we call onboard diagnostic. Very useful tool. We can set values, we can delete values that it holds in it, and yet again we can call up more information about those inputs. There's another I/O button here. This is where we can see I/O local, I/O box, and I/O can. So I/O local would be driver local inputs and outputs, which we have none. Again, we can look at digital inputs, and if we select one, we can call up more information out about it. Digital outs, same thing. I/O box, so this would be our Hirschman C-scale box inside the frame. So digital inputs into the box. And again, we can hit the info button and call up more information about them. Digital outputs, analog inputs, analog outputs. All those things we can look at through this screen. I/O CAN is where we can see every sensor on the CAN bus. So here it says length measurement, and a 2-block switch, pressure transducers. In the operating screen, everything's labeled quite nice for you: radius, angle, boom length, height, tip height, percentage of utilization, outrigger positions, reeving. All right. Down below here, we can see our max allowable pick and our actual pick. This day-night display contrast feature, so you can see the display change. The limits, so if there are limits set, we will have a green background, and if the background for the limit button is yellow, it's telling us that one or more of those active user limits have been reached. We'll go into the limit screen. We can go in and set limits for angle, tip height, radius. This key takes us back to our confirmation screen. The tare function, as with most displays, we can read the net load prior to lifting that load by hitting the tare button. It's only active for so long and then it goes back. The date is in the bottom left hand corner, operating mode's right above it, and the time is off to the side. If there were an event, anything the machine sees as an event would show up down in this corner in red or yellow. Errors show up in the bottom of the screen. You can see here that our 2-block is showing up. Also here, over here is an event class error. So the event class is 4. 1 through 4 are all going to show up red. The first little 4 here is telling us that there's an error. A 3 would be a critical error, a 2 would be an alert, and a 1 would be an emergency error. Yellow would be a 5 where the 4 is. The color instead of red would be yellow, and that's just telling us general warnings. You can call up more information about the error by hitting the I button. So here it's telling us the A2B is cut. You can also get more information about it. Load lifting prohibited. Lower the load. We can mute by pushing that button. Thanks for checking in and viewing today's video from Manitowoc Garage. We hope you find today's video useful. Check back in for future videos. Thank you.